I don't know if you're aware of the what we call peer rope groups, which are sort of loosely organised get-togethers where nobody's necessarily teaching, but maybe somebody will do a presentation there, but it's not run by a particular teacher. Are there any similar sort of groups in Japan? Do people work like that? How do people?
Yeah, in Japan you have what we call salon, rope salon, where people gather and then they tell each other. But that's more for just get together pleasure.
Yeah.
I think peer-to-peer is more, you try to pick up new tricks, try to learn from others.
A bit of each, really.
Watching others. So the closest thing is a rope salon. But where are these? Basically, because space is limited, it must be some guy having a facility like here where 5 or 10 couples can come together.
Yeah, not the big thing that we have here in terms of numbers and stuff. Yeah, I can see that. Having been to Japan, I know what the accommodation is like, and I think I probably actually went to what you're talking about, a rope salon at somebody's house. People brought some food and some rope, and there was I don't know who was hosting it, because I think the main host wasn't there. So it was sort of subsidiary people there. And I don't know to what extent that the main host there was sort of teaching or whether it was purely a sort of social. When I was there, it was purely just a sort of social where people were tying and chatting and eating and drinking.
Well, let's say the scene in Japan is very fragmented. Yeah? You have master so-and-so does his own stuff and master so-and-so. So it's not a big community and everybody mingling.
Well, you don't really have the same sort of fetish, BDSM club environment as we have in certainly a lot in London and throughout most of Europe. I mean, I think the closest to anything that we have here is, that I've seen out there anyway, is the occasional Torture Garden event, which is maybe once a year if that, and Tokyo Decadence, run by a Canadian guy, I think it is.
In Japan we have big
in
parties.
Ebisu, I think he lives.
Sometimes there are some big events with hundreds of people, but they are mainly music, dancing. Yeah. And then there's a show here and show there, and a little bit whipping here in the corner. It's not.
There's more a sort of sideshow at a main dance event or something.
So for example, I have been Torture Garden here. It was just not to me. It's just some people gathering. And then over there some action, and over there some action.
There's a sort of dungeon area, but most of it's people watching and being seen. Torture Garden, really.
Yeah.
It's not so much an active play club. I mean, they do have a dungeon area there, but it's small compared to the rest of the size of the event. Whereas a lot of events here will have a dungeon, say the size of Torture Gardens, but a fraction of the number of people. So it's much more orientated around the dungeon. But then we don't have the any equivalent to the mistress bars here either.
Yeah, in Japan everything commercialized.
Yeah.
Very highly commercialized. So if you want to enjoy as a submissive male, you go to a mistress bar.
Yeah.
Then you get handcuffed there and then hope to maybe get spanked a little bit and pay a lot of money to just hang out there.
Yeah, cause it's certainly not cheap just the entry on those places, is it? Certainly for a single male.
Yeah. So it can be 10,000 yen an hour.
Yeah.
So 100 euro an hour you spend 2 or 3, 4 hours and basically you don't get nothing.
Well, here you'd get a couple of hours with a dominatrix probably for that sort of money. Personal attention. Or at the very least an hour. 3 or 4 hours worth. I don't know what the rates are now, but round about the 200-ish mark. an hour, maybe more, 250. I don't know. So yeah, that's a different thing altogether.